The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
You like that? You like that?
What's going on, Raider Nation? Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Raider Rob, and you now tuned in to Raider Nation Central. Let me get a Raiders, where we talk about all things, the things silver and black. We back, baby. Hey, man, appreciate you guys for tuning into the channel. We about to get these things started, popping. Let's go. So, what if I told you the Raiders might already have the starting quarterback for the entire season, and it's not the rookie? All right, the Las Vegas brought in Kirk Cousins, and a lot of people are calling him the bridge quarterback. But what if it ends up being a guy for the whole season? Let's talk about it. Listen, man, with Kirk Cousins coming into the offense and the familiarity he has with Coach Kubiak, I couldn't be shocked if he is the starting quarterback the whole season, barring an injury, right? Unless Mendoza is literally adjusting to the playbook, and I mean not adjusting to the playbook. Well, yeah, technically, yeah, adjusting to the playbook. And he's also trying to build more with Mendoza. We can see Kirk Cousins really put a season together this year. I know a lot of Raiders fans are ready to see Mendoza start, but Kirk Cousins is somebody that I feel the Raiders are going to need to have on the squad just to make things a little easier for Mendoza. But listen, we all know Kirk Cousins is not the long-term goal here. What Kirk Cousins is exactly that. He is somebody to come in. If he's a bridge, yes. A reason why I feel like he's a bridge too is that he's 36, 37 years old. I'm pretty sure they're not trying to keep him for the next 5 years. If that's the point, then why are you drafting Mendoza, right? But I feel like for 1 year or 2 years, he's somebody that could be very, very beneficial for the Raiders offense, right? You want to make sure you got somebody that can lead the helm right now with the way this offense is being constructed and with the weapons that they have on the offensive side and the ability with Kubiak's scheme of the offense could be lights out for the Raiders this year. Hey, listen, I don't expect Kirk Cousins to come in and lead the charge and be like, an elite top five quarterback in the NFL. I don't even think that's what Spytech and the Raiders organization is actually looking for. What I do think that they're looking for is stability on the offensive side, meaning they want to be able to move the chains, get first downs, take shots when they are able to get them, but then not really have to play from behind every game. The Raiders were really bad at that last year under Pete Carroll, and even in certain instances with Antonio Pierce, um, they were in games, man, that they were just down. Last year it was pretty embarrassing for us when we are getting guys are checking out the whole fourth quarter because they didn't have to play because we couldn't move the ball. Uh, Bringing in Kubiak's offensive mind and matching him with Kirk Cousins, who's already studied under this offense, obviously in Minnesota, bodes well for the Raiders. I know a lot of guys are going to be ready for Mendoza day one. If Mendoza is starting day one, that means that Kirk Cousins is not going to be the guy to lead the helm. And Mendoza's obviously playing better. And he's obviously grasped the playbook and is able or has gained the trust of Kubiak to be the starting quarterback. But I don't see that. Things could change. Who knows? But this is the one thing that I want a lot of Raiders fans to know. If Kubiak has any inkling about what he knows he's got himself into, he should very well let Kirk Cousins start. All right. Barring even the fact that you feel like Mendoza is ready or not. Me personally, I don't ever like starting a quarterback year one. I think it's a lot for an NFL franchise quarterback to deal with in the NFL, along with just learning the playbook, getting familiar with the offense, um, being the guy that has to take all the slack, but then also get the praise. Being able to handle that on a larger scale than what he was already on. You know, Mendoza at Indiana, man. Indiana was a sneaky team for a lot of people um, when Mendoza got there. So what he was able to do there and how he handles himself is a great recipe for the Raiders long term. What I do think as well is that the Raiders have to make sure that they're going to be fully invested in Mendoza, but also fully invested into the team, right? Let's not just sit here and just wait for Mendoza to be the savior. We don't need our quarterback to just be the savior. We want a stable quarterback. We want somebody that's going to be able to come in and run the offense, but we also want somebody that can be able to facilitate and move the chains. All right. We want somebody that is smart in between the ears. I think a lot of knock on him is just, banter for a slow off season, right? You got guys coming out talking about they believe that there's other players that's better than him. And I'm not shocked about that. I believe in every draft there's always somebody better. But in this regard, let's just look at the facts of what Mendoza's done. Like the tail of the tape lets you know this kid worked hard to get where he was at. And for the guys taking shots at him about his on the field and what he can do and why he lacks certain things, but you're not challenging his competitiveness. You're not challenging his courage. You're not challenging his ability to um, make plays, right? You're talking about these guys are talking about things that really, when you look at it, don't really hold water and aren't validated by anything other than an opinion. So at the end of the day, man, what do you think? Right? Are we better with going with Kirk Cousins now, seeing what happens as far as his first year? Because if Kirk Cousins don't have a good season, you know, or is the Raider Nation, man? Are we just gonna be chomping at the bit for him? Right? Are we gonna be just like, hey man, it's time to get him up out of here? Put Mendoza in. You ready to see Mendoza? We did that with Aiden O'Connell. I know there's a lot of people still out there want Aiden O'Connell to get an opportunity. And the best thing I can say about that is anybody that feels Aiden O'Connell is a starter in the NFL, then why did the Raiders want to bring in Kirk Cousins? Right? Um, Aiden O'Connell is a capable backup. I believe that Aiden O'Connell shows flashes, but for consistency at that position, he does not have that. And a lot of people I've seen over social media have really been going in about it that he's going to be the guy if he was given a chance. I don't see that. But to each his own, right? Everybody's got a right to their opinion about that. I got mine. I just think that Aiden O'Connell is a good, if he can back up, come in, win a game or two, hey man, he did. He'll surpass me at any time. Listen, Aiden O'Connell has played some tough games. And yes, he has been unable to kind of push to the next level. But sometimes it's just about what you see on tape, man, and it's not always the coaching staff. You know, it's what the player can actually do. So when we look at that, man, we talk about that a lot of times, where a player will come in before I say that, when the Raiders signed Kirk Cousins, The assumption was simple. He was a veteran coming in, he holds it down, and then you draft the future guy, right? But this is technically a typical blueprint for what you want um, from your organization, right? But here's the thing that's very interesting, right? Cousins comes and plays solid football early in the season. Do we really take him off, or do we keep riding the hot hand? That's something I also want to ask my Raider Nation family. Like, let's just say for sake of the argument, Cousins does come in, plays well, has a good season, and then they give him his next year, does okay too. What do we do? At this point, do we bring Mendoza in, right? Or do we keep riding the hot hand with Kirk Cousins? That's something I think a lot of people don't know that could happen. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think Kirk Cousins, if you ask me, I think Kirk Cousins is probably going to have a subpar year. Um, but I also do think Kirk Cousins is he's definitely smart in between the ears, right? Man, everywhere he goes, he's getting fully guaranteed money. So you got to be pretty smart to do that. So one thing I'll tell you is this: if we're going to go into this season with Kirk Cousins, I need the Raider Nation to have uh, a mindset of don't expect Super Bowl. Hell, I don't even know if we can actually expect a playoff burst this year. I would love one, right? I would love for us to take the dominance back of the AFC West. And it's something that's needed for the Raider Nation anyway, and the Raiders organization as well, is that we have to reclaim the AFC West, right? Denver won it last year. The Chiefs obviously have been controlling it for the past, 6, 7 years before that. Uh, but the Raiders' obligation should definitely be in taking control of the AFC West and making a statement that we are here to stay, right? So if we do that, one of the best things about that is we start setting a precedent. I really do think that the team is moving in the right direction. I really like the additions that they made on the defensive side. I love some of the additions that they made on the offensive side. I think we got a little bit more room to grow as far as when we get in this draft. The draft is going to be very telling for the Raiders organization on what our team is going to look like for the next uh, 4 to 5 years moving forward. We're going to bring in some guys that hopefully that can come in and be good character guys that's going to be able to change the landscape of how we've been going for the past 20 years, 20 plus years. So you guys let me know. Are we in for the long haul? Are we going to take this to the next level? Or are we still just being stagnant and just kind of like fitting stuff in where we can? Because at this point, I really think that the Raiders are making the strides to build the organization the right way. Shout out to John Spytek again. Um, it's been uttered that Mark Davis is allowing the GM to be the GM, and man, I'm loving that. Right? I think that's dope. I think that's something that the Raiders needed. I think um, the head honchos is just like letting somebody else drive the Bentley and do his thing is something that we need, and it's something that Raiders fans have been waiting on. I think for the most part, we have to look at this with an open mind because I really think why Kirk Cousins is good to start the whole season. And let me be real for a second. Kirk gives you experience, accuracy, leadership, the ability to run the offense, and he's not flashy, but he's consistent, right? So for the most part, he's somebody that the Raiders need right now. Now I know we had Geno last year, but if you go back and you look at Geno, and here's the thing, I know a lot of people gonna kill me in the comments about this, but hey man, listen, I'm not saying Geno is better than Kirk Cousins, but if you look at Geno last year in some games, um, when he was able to kind of feel good in the pocket, Geno would make plays. I feel the same way about Kirk Cousins. But I think this year that Spytek went out and he made it very abundantly clear that he was kind of sick to his stomach letting some of the guys walk out the door last free agency, and he made it his obligation to not see that happen this year. But then also beefing up his offensive line, bringing in Linderbaum, and going to keep adding additions. I believe we signed another offensive lineman. Uh, Probably a few days after we had that massive free agency moves. But I really think that Cousins is going to have the ability, and plus two Cousins coming off of the fact of that Achilles injury, he's going to have the ability to be able to run the offense, feel good in the pocket, feel good in the offensive scheme that he's comfortable with, and making better strides for himself down the road. If you are a Raiders fan, trust me, this is something that you want. All right. You don't want to throw Mendoza in and get, that quick dopamine rush of a new quarterback, a new year, and then things start going south. And then you're like, oh, get rid of it. Let's just play this out. Let's play this process out because in my belief, the Raiders are doing the right thing by bringing Cousins in. He was one of the quarterbacks I talked about. I've already posted videos about him and Mendoza, but this is the first time I want to discuss the fact about him being a offensive starter for us. And want you guys' opinion about it, right? You guys let me know. Is Kirk a starter year one or is he not? Do you think he's even going to be able to beat out Mendoza or not? Do you think Mendoza's ready for this Raiders regime, right? And Coach Kubiak, first year head coach. There's a lot of pieces going into this season that I think have to play out before we fully get to know where we are. But I will say this: if we do this right, the Raiders will be back in the Super Bowl within the next 5 years. Right? I think we're hosting in 2029. That'd be a perfect time to go back to the crib, baby, and put one right there in the Raptors because at that point we could literally have almost everybody still on the team. Maybe, probably not, but there could be some pieces still there. But we'll definitely get touched back on that later on, man. Listen, I wanted to come on here give you guys a shout out. Wanted to tell you guys thank you for the subs, man. I really appreciate it. I'm getting ready to put some merchandise on here. I want you guys to really check out for this upcoming season: sunglasses, banners, mats, things just for that Raiders accessories that we always need in our homes and in our offices, right? So listen, big shout out to all my Raider Nation family, man. We're doing it. It's coming. Don't worry. All right. So with that being said, man, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy Raider Rob, man. Raider Nation. See you when I see you. We out.